As Heidi Klum once said, many times, in fashion, one day you're in and the next you're out. There's a simple workaround to this precarity. Give yourself early onset arthritis by making everything you own by hand. And the sentimentality of these items will trump trends, ill-fittedness, shoddy craftsmanship. Not that this applies to any of my children. You know what, let's just end the intro now.
C'est mon habillez-moi Louis Dolce Gabbana Alexander McQueen et oh merde I love those Manolo Fashion, put it on me Don't you wanna see these clothes on me Fashion, put it on me I am anyone you want me to be Fashion, put it on me Don't you wanna see these clothes on me Fashion, put it on me I am anyone you want me to be
A few years back when I wanted to learn how to sew, I signed up for a 10-pack of classes and I famously ran away after 30 minutes. As soon as they showed me what the bobbin thing was, how to get the thread through, I felt the power surge through my veins and I knew everything I needed to know. And I really do enjoy doing various hack jobs with no rhyme or reason. I would rather seam rip and bump my head against a wall endlessly than follow a pattern. Until I came across this one from this design studio called Robert Wood.
Bring the flavor to the fish, bring the flavor to the rice. Who's the number one spice? Who's the number one spice? Bring the flavor to the fish, bring the flavor to the rice. Who's the number one spice?
I'm so glad I gave it a chance because it's the coolest pattern ever. I recorded the process of making the bag so you can see the way that it gets really gnarly and gross and knotted, and then there's a moment where you turn it inside out and it blooms. It gets so bad before you get to see the final product that it feels like the pattern is taking you on a journey. And then what you end up with is this very practical backpack that is one of a kind, so sturdy, holds 7 medium potatoes, half a laptop. I've made it 3 times now. The first one that I made was using my mom's old sari that she bought in the 80s using 2 months of her salary. It's this beautiful brocade silk that I'm gonna mine for every last thread. And there's nothing anyone can do about it. This is when I got in trouble a little bit for my hubris. You're supposed to attach a fusing to make it a little stiffer, but I thought I could get away with it. And so this one's a little bit floppier, doesn't hold its shape as well, but there's some advantages to that too, like I can fold it up and travel with it. I made another one for my friend whose favorite color is cornflower. I just so happened to have an outfit that was sort of that color, so I repurposed it to make a version of this bag that just has one strap instead of the backpack. The fabric that I used is really special. It's called shuka. It's a material from Kenya. I use it draped all around my house. This is that. I've used it to make beds for Maeve. Sometimes I watch footage of myself. I'm like, who is that young boy dressed for PE? They work as picnic blankets. It was useful for whatever this is. And dogs just love to be wrapped in them. Let me show you roughly the process to make this. It's not meant to be a tutorial, but hopefully you'll appreciate how much work goes into making something like this. It took me about 14 hours. It really strengthens my resolve to stay away from fast fashion. Okay, so to make this bag, I started off by printing out the pattern and attaching all the papers with tape so that I could cut out these large pieces. And then I gather all of my shukas and I assign them to different pieces, pin the template to my fused fabric and cut it out exactly. And this is what I end up with. The front part of the bag is usually supposed to just be one piece, but I really wanted all of my different shukas represented. So I did a little bit of iteration and figured out how I wanted the front to look with each of the 6 petals being a different piece of fabric. And I cut it up like this to look almost like a pizza and joined everything together. After that was done, I trimmed all of the excess, gave it a nice iron. Look at the difference between how nicely the seams sit when they're ironed versus not. And then I ironed the fusing on from the back. There are some markings that you need to transfer from the paper to your fabric. So I did that like this. And then it's time to start sewing everything together. So you use these quad pieces to bring your first piece together into this dome-like shape. Then I take a frustrating hiatus to make the backpack straps. So annoying to cut like this. This chopping is done to relieve the tension for when I turn it around. I turned into a demon during this very frustrating process. And I also made this connector piece that makes it flexible and allows the straps to move around however they need to. That goes into one of the sections of the dome. This hexagon is what you use to displace the fabric so that the center of your flower is not going to be aligned with the edges of your flower. And that's what gives you this twist. The dome is starting to get kind of unruly, so I sew this part by hand. I hate to hand sew. This is the first time during the process that you get to turn it inside out and see what it looks like. And then I attach the back piece, which I joined together, put them together inside out, and sew it all along the edges. This is what it looks like. I do the same thing, chopping up near the seams to help to relieve the tension. And another fun inside out. Ironing down the place where they were connected helps it look really neat. And then I go to sleep because this is very hard labor. The next day, this is what my bag looks like, with the front attached to the back and that dome, which is going to be the cavity of the bag, in place. I sew that together. And then I put together the lining and the flap for the back. And then you have to slurp everything back into the dome, even pop the flaps in. So it's just this bowl like this, and you put the lining on top like this. At this point, there are parts where there are like 7 or 8 layers of fused fabric together. So it's really, really hard to sew. The rhythm is basically like 3 stitches and then a minute of huffing and puffing. And my fingers have turned into elephant hide. I don't even feel the needle pokes anymore. Sorry if you were bored throughout this whole explanation, but this is the part that made me want to record this process. So I left a little section in the lining unstitched, and I used that part to pull the entire bag through. And there she is. And all that's left to do is put the straps into the connector like this. Voila! I also made this jacket out of shukas. This looks crazy, but I love it.
Who's the number one spice? Oh, you got a minute? Oh, you got a knife?
Okay, so kwa joku marketing with good price.
Who's the number one spice? Who's the number
Era
one
mosi
spice?
tengatambula marketing munyonze nendeta yakabi kugamenti nendeta don't call it a vibe munyo love letter bossy.
Next is this crocheted leafy pattern scarf that I made out of a beautiful variegated, super fluffy alpaca yarn. Every time I look at it, I have a different leaf that's my favorite. Like right now, I'm loving this one, the transition on this one. But also, oh my goodness, look at this section. I made this scarf over Christmas break. We were all contributing to the household in different ways, as you can see here.
If
we just stand over here,
Yeah, the cap, no?
just turn around. When I was done making the scarf, I had a bunch of yarn left and I devised the most haphazard way of creating a beanie. I made a bunch of those leaves and then I pinned them onto a beanie that I already had and stitched them together. And as I was putting it together, at every stage I thought it was a fail. But then I thought to add this border in a different color and texture, and I kind of like it now. Look at it together. I feel like an old, wealthy lady going to check on my vintage gun collection at the bank. Is this hat ugly? I don't think I can be impartial. Even a cockroach is beautiful to its own mother.
Call it a vibe munyo love letter bossy. Take a move himba. No lines. Sija kulima. Ninga frido no tolanya kolumba. This is the number one.
I'm gonna
spice.
link that leafy crochet pattern. It is so deserving of beautiful variegated yarns. This bag I made out of a very, very thin silk yarn. It started off meant to be a sweater, but then I just couldn't anymore. And it sat as a pouch for a really long time until I thought to just crochet these straps and just attach them to the sides like this. But even once I added the straps, it just sat adorning a doorknob for years because I have this thing where I just feel very sad for inanimate objects. And whenever I would put my phone in this, the straps would stretch so heartbreakingly. So I went back over to the bottomless well of my mom's precious sari and created this lining, which I was able to attach to look pretty invisible. But even if it does peek out, it's so beautiful. I attached a button like this, and then this part I'm really proud of. To solve the issue of the straps stretching too much, I weaved a nylon thread through the straps. And I guess it's a testament to how well it worked because I'm struggling to even show you where the nylon is. It just disappears. There. And the nylon is attached to the lining and it's weaved through and it's nice and taut. So the strain is always just going from the nylon over to the lining, which is also sturdy. And it makes it so that now I can put my phone in here. And there's zero strain on the delicate yarn, but I haven't had to sacrifice at all on the beautiful simplicity of these
Number one
straps.
spice. 8 in the morning and roll like a dice. Mama told me this once and I'm telling you twice. Banabo muchibina wabede so wise. Ichubini yetu lerondi kumasi. Awomanyo na yetava elugasi. It's got me reminiscing like Lillian.
Next, this is a crocheted film scarf for my sister-in-law, who's a major film buff. Even on its own, I think this idea to have a film strip as a scarf is so cute, but I'm always on a quest to personalize further. I had the idea to fill the rectangles where images actually would be in a film strip with scenes from her favorite movies. Jaime did a deep dive to get the perfect screenshots from every scene of movies that she references a lot. In Photoshop, I did a bunch of color adjustment to turn down the saturation to make it look like it would look in a film strip. And then I ordered them in iron-on vinyl from this company that I really love that I'll link below. Pressed them onto the soft gray t-shirt material. This is what they look like. They're super stretchy, durable. They can be washed forever. And then I arranged them in sort of a random way on both the front and the back of the scarf and stitched them on because the iron-on vinyl and the t-shirt that I pressed it onto are so lightweight. You don't feel them at all as you run your hand along the scarf.
It's got me reminiscing like Lillian Babasi. Oyagala kufumba na yeto ina kabasi.
A lovely berry, a lovely night. Some me I hate water, but I love spice.
This is the last bag of the video. It's also a Robert Wood pattern. I'm not going to subject you to all the details of how it was made, but let me show you what it started as. I bought this fabric because it was a close match to a top that my friend had that would have people like shouting across New York streets to her to ask where it was from. And when I saw the pattern for this smaller cousin of the Hex Twist bag, I had to figure out how to make it. But there was a serious problem of structure, which this has absolutely none of. I realized that I could use this double-sided iron-on adhesive. So I cut out the base pieces from this old green linen shirt that I had and ironed it on very, very gently so that I wasn't ironing out any of the pleats in the plissé. And that gave me a really nice stiff texture. So here are just some shots of me putting all the different pieces together. I wanted to make the strap something special, so I made this 5-strand braid. These pieces were so much stiffer than the shuka pieces for the other flower bag, and so sewing this was absolute bloodshed. And this is the really exciting reveal that happens for this bag as well. Because the fabric became so stiff after many layers, things in the back ended up not as well aligned as I wanted. Even when I have it closed, you can still see a little bit of the lining. I used an indelible ink marker to cover up the parts that show. As an added bonus, I get to huff marker fumes, so I think it's a win all around. I also put in some snap closures. And yeah. The other thing made out of this plissé fabric is so simple. Cut out this shape, stitched, took 2 little strips and tied bows around the top. And that takes us to the next 3 things that I want to show you. So while I love things that are really intricate and gaudy, I also appreciate when something is very simple but geniusly designed. A few years ago when we were in Menorca, an island in Spain, we found this beautiful dress that was just a rectangle with 3 holes cut out of it, 1 for the neck and 2 on the sides. And it was called the hug dress. It was the Arabic word for hug. It's so dramatic and sculptural, playing with that negative space. Like the feature of the dress is what it's lacking, but it's still very comfortable to wear, extremely practical. And much like with this leafy crochet pattern, which would inspire me to imagine every possible yarn in that pattern, I started to think that way about the dress as well. Like that this super cool, simple idea would translate to different fabrics. So the ones I want to show you that I made, this is another sari. I'm sorry. I decided to sacrifice a yard of it to imagine it as a top version of the hug dress. It is stupidly simple to make, especially if you cut corners in the ways that I figured out how to. Fold your fabric in half, hem whatever edges need hemming, cut out a slit for the neck. I was experimenting with using hem tape instead of sewing because this fabric is just so thin and I didn't want stitching to make it heavy. I think it worked pretty well. I think the embroidery would fall off much faster than the hem hem tape would deteriorate. And then I cut out 2 circles. For finishing the circles, if I did this the way that it was done at that proper shop in Menorca, that's a little bit challenging to do because if you were sewing it in a neat way, you would sew it inside out. But for a shape like this, if you have it inside out and you sew it, there's no way to turn it back around. I decided, as an ode to its former life as a sari, I was going to attach this circle with safety pins. You couldn't even tell from over there. But then if you do, honestly, that's fitting. This is the number of pins that you would probably use to put this on as a sari. This is another hug dress I made with fabric of questionable origin. It was the shower curtain left behind by the previous owner of our house. I couldn't bear to throw it away. The material is so beautiful and delicate and fresh, and they just don't make things like this anymore. Is that true? So I used the same process as for the other one, and when I got around to the stage where I needed to come up with my lazy solution for the circles, I decided to seal it off from fraying using hem tape like this, and in order to cinch the front and back together, as well as an ode to its previous life as a shower curtain, I hammered in these little silver grommets. I don't know, there's something so funky about it. This material is so delicate and cottagecore, and grommets to me are very steampunk, sporty, so I love that juxtaposition. This next thing fits into that same category of really simple, genius design. It's inspired by this cardigan that I have. It is one very, very long rectangle made out of a super thin fabric with 2 holes in it for the arms. And the cool thing about it is that there are 5 or 6 super valid ways to wear it.
Spice to you is a means to me. Selling even if the price misery. Same story in the Salt Lake vis-a-vis.
Musaja tuka, fua kufirimbi. Working all day in the sun like a movie. Boss looks at me and says, Tokwa musubi. Sigwa musubi, nina munji.
Serena said they need to cook ngo fumbi. Na ete chimaraza kupera okurunji. Yabi when the people party mubumbi. Cause everybody's family man, even Gundi.
I found this cotton jersey that is so thin. It's like tissue paper. I feel like if I breathe on it a little too heavily, it'll rip. But that's what makes it so perfect for this project. For cleaning the edges of this, I also used hem tape. I really tried to avoid using the sewing machine at all because it's so delicate. And in fact, the part where the tape just wasn't working at all and I had to sew it is the part that is most questionable. I will not show you the details of the armholes. For the next project, let's go back to crochet.
Bring the flavor to the fish, bring the flavor to the rice. Who's the number 1 spice? Who's the number 1 spice? Bring the flavor to the fish, bring the flavor to the rice. Who's the number 1 spice?
This is a beanie that I made for Jaime, but it is also a baklava! It looks like knitting, but it's not. It's just a bunch of slip stitches. I will not learn to knit as long as I shall live. This yarn on the inside, the blue part, is cotton, and then it has this layer of fuzzy mohair around it. To me, this just looks like magma trying to break through the earth's crust. Like, I didn't even plan there's a tiny sliver in the window where the blinds don't cover it, and the heavens have decided to shine down on it, as it deserves. And when it's crocheted, it just has so much dimension. I think it has the same quality as denim. It's very non-committal. Like, the black fuzzy mohair not only traps a lot of air and makes it very warm and insulated, it helps to soften this really bright blue and have it look so interesting and sophisticated. With this remaining yarn, I'm going to make another beanie for myself. I'm going to tap into my extremely prized YouTube playlist of gorgeous, unusual crochet stitches. Maybe a beanie and something like this or this. I'll test it out and see what's doing the yarn the most justice. I really love cool yarns. This one looks pretty unassuming, but it's glow in the dark. I still haven't figured out what to do with it. I have so little. This one is UV reactive. As I'm holding it up to the camera, the sun is turning it purple. I think this could work as a small bag, maybe in this pattern. Okay, I guess now we're just talking about works in progress. I'm hoping maybe to turn this into a vest someday when I have the patience to expand it. I'll link the pattern to this top. It's very confusing. I don't know what climate to wear this in. It's short, it only has one sleeve, but it's made of a really thick material. So I've actually never worn this, but it has sentimental value because I made matching ones for myself and my 2 best friends. This last bit of crochet I debated putting in here because it's not really a wearable. It's a Halloween costume. I made a whole video on this one. It's the first one on my channel if you want to go and check it out. This is supposed to be the fungus from The Last of Us. So this is a clicker and this one much more comfortable. So for example, this you could wear on a plane. Maybe if you just wanted to block out light from one eye. This is supposed to be a runner. So earlier stage of infection. And also it's cold on the plane. So like you can attach this scarf. And since we're talking about Halloween anyway, a different year I had sewn for Jaime a Batman cape. It's two-way stretch pleather. We went to Joann's to test the sound of each one. And the key here is that I made this like headpiece. It's almost like a balaclava, and attached that to the cape so that it helps it to be all just like one clean piece. But the other key thing in order to get that very dramatic wingspan was that I made the hem quite thick to leave space to put a very long wooden dowel through. And that way, whenever he lifted it up, he was holding the dowel, and the dowel was keeping the fabric straight. So don't forget when you're stitching a Batman cape to do that. Ever since I discovered how easy it is to make your own t-shirts, I've been kind of unstoppable. This is a t-shirt that I made for the Berkeley Free Clinic where I volunteered in college and drew so much blood, my favorite thing to do. That's not true. Giving TB tests is my favorite. Drawing blood is a close second. And this I made using my Cricut machine, cutting out different layers of vinyl and then ironing them on one at a time. This takes much longer and you would need to have a special machine for it. But what's so much easier and super affordable is just ordering printed vinyl. It's such high quality, and all you have to do is cut the piece out and iron it on. So I have some that are in the works. This photo of baby Jaime is going on a sweatshirt soon, and this is gonna go maybe on a tote bag, maybe on a t-shirt. I made the design for this t-shirt, which is meant to show the beauty in different kinds of affordable housing. I was able to order the exact t-shirt that I wanted, which is this really thick, boxy, slightly faded material, and then just iron this part on myself, and it didn't take any time. I think I made like 60 or 70 of these in an afternoon. And I've also made glow-in-the-dark versions. This one I think I've shown in the past. It was in my video about cool things to do with photos. And it's this t-shirt with 3 Maves. My friend showed me this tweet at a party. I cackled. I came home and within 30 minutes I had this t-shirt. This same friend, I took a photo of her from her engagement party. I made a bunch of stylized t-shirts of that same picture to play White Elephant with at her honeymoon, which we crashed.
Baby girl, you're so damn fine though. I'm trying to know if I can hit it from behind though. I'm sipping on you.
The next thing we need to desperately talk about is nail polish. I've been inhaling nail polish fumes since I was a young child. I'm an avid collector, but I want to show you some of the coolest ones that I have. The first type I want to show you is these magnetic nail polishes. The glitter in the nail polish will separate when you bring a magnet to it. So when you put the nail polish on, it just looks like a normal glitter. You hold a magnet over it for 10 seconds while it's still wet, and it totally changes the look. Suddenly, a whole world of different colors appear. This one here is called Voulez-Vous by Patti Lopez. It's an indie brand. I don't have words to describe this. It's every color under the sun. It looks different depending on the kind of light you're in, depending on the way that you're moving your fingers around. Whenever I put this nail polish on, I should be ashamed to be in public because I'm just sitting there in a trance, holding my fingers up close to my eye, twisting my hand around. This one is from a brand called Cadillacquer. It's got like a golden base and it shifts over to a really bright purple. Also drastically different in direct sunlight, daytime, nighttime with the lights on. And then this insane icy blue one that I have on right now makes me want to jump headfirst into my own hand. Something else that's so cool about the magnetics is that you can layer them up. And because every time you put a coat on and you magnetize it, it leaves areas where there might be less pigment. If you have another color that's underneath, then that shows from behind. Here's a photo of when I had doubled up this blue and green and had this really beautiful peacock situation going on. There are also glow-in-the-dark nail polishes. This video just speaks for it. And this one is just actually witchcraft. This is Cadillacquer. It's called the Quiet Chaos. It's a thermal nail polish. And so when you are warm, it's this almost clear color with these iridescent flakes. And when you get cold, it turns into a dark green. Here, I'm just trying to demonstrate to you how water changes it really fast, but even just the temperature. Here, I'm like inside the house and I'm warm, and then I step out for a little bit on a pretty cold day. And look at how quickly they turn green. Here's Maeve's mouth helping to demonstrate it. Here's some ice. And with 2 minutes of space left on my memory card, I will tell you so quickly about this jewelry that I made. 3 years ago, I was looking for things to wear with my wedding outfit. All the options that I could find were so ugly. I found these gorgeous beads that matched my outfit perfectly, and they looked like custom made for the outfit. Because they were. This is what I made for a different wedding outfit, and this is the set that I made for my white sharara. These snowflakes I really like to wear on a 100-degree summer day. These I made to wear to my friend's wedding in Italy. I feel like we've all forgotten about lockets. You can order them online empty, put whatever you want inside. So here's the one that I made with Maeve and Jaime in it. Just printed it out and then put some Mod Podge in it. The contents of this one, my friend saved for me after an injury that she had. I won't tell you any more about what it is, but I'll show it to you and you can guess if you want. The end.